Welcome to a brand new episode of Spacemane Chats. I'm your host, Timothy Steven Spacemane Riggs. Thank you for being here today. Lovely to have you. Today, we are going to talk about the Spacemane House of Greatness, the Temple of Success for anything, how to build it, how to use it, and how to apply it for your life today. Now, this is a little concept I came up with about 2-3 years ago. I drew it, I wrote it, and then I never really used it. So now we're back to business. Had a couple of pit stops along the way. So we're just gonna jump right into this. I'm giving up the game right here, right now. We'll go more into depth into this later, but for now, we're just gonna jump right in. So, the Spacemane Temple of Success for anything. As you can see, I'm an amazing artist. I'm a world-class, incredible, good at drawing things person. So, what we start with, the ground. What do you build anything atop of? You build it atop of the ground. Now, the ground is your circumstance. Your circumstance could be whatever situation you're currently in. It doesn't matter what it is, what that looks like. Everybody's got a different circumstance. So the ground is your circumstance. Okay, you don't really do anything with this. You're just gonna build on top of it, right? So we have 3 foundations to the Spacemane House of Greatness, Temple of Success for anything. The first foundational block is going to be diet. Now, diet includes the food you eat, but not only the food you eat, it also includes anything you consume. So that counts for spiritually, emotionally, physically, anything that you're intaking to your mind, your body, your emotions. So that counts for social media, for movies, for books you read, for people you're around that you're consuming their energy, for the food you eat, alcohol, drugs, anything like that is all your diet. It's incredibly important to be mindful of your diet and what you're intaking. I'm sure you've heard the saying, we are what we eat, and that's extremely true. Any energies you're intaking, we become that. I'm sure you've also heard the saying, you are the 5 people you're around the most. So, but you're also a compilation of everything you're choosing to intake and keep around you at all times. So it's very important to be mindful of your diet. The second foundational brick of the Spacemane House of Greatness is going to be your connection with God. Now, I say God, it doesn't have to be God specifically. If you're an atheist, this can still work for you too. If you're spiritual, you believe in the universe, this is completely fine. Whatever religion you subscribe to or whatever belief system you subscribe to, this applies to. So your connection with God is essentially important because it's important to have some sort of faith in the way that things are playing out in your life. It's important to have some sort of belief that everything is working out for the highest good of you, that things are happening for you, not to you. Now, to help your connection with God, what you're going to want to do is set some time aside every day to focus on your relationship with that higher power. Again, if you're an atheist, that's still completely fine. If you believe in psychology and you believe in the power of the subconscious mind, set some time aside to sit with yourself and with your subconscious mind and tap into it. If you believe in God, set some time aside to pray every day. If you believe in the universe, this, that, just set some time aside to meditate every day. Maybe focus on a good mantra, whatever you got to do. This is very important. Step number 3 is going to be your relationships. Now, the most important relationship is the one that you have to yourself. In the last video, we talked a lot about self-love, and self-love is absolutely the most number 1 important thing you can do. I believe in any venture you take, it's the foundation to creating anything greater. So your relationships are extremely important. As we said a couple minutes ago, you are a sum of the 5 people you choose to hang around the most. So, first of all, your relationship to yourself has to be good, has to be clean, solid, the least toxic you can possibly make it. And then you want to choose your relationships with those around you very carefully, your family, your friends, your significant other. These relationships matter, and who you associate with is everything in terms of the person you will become. So, those are the 3 foundational bricks to the Spacemane House of Greatness, Temple of Success for anything. Next, we've got 4 pillars So we have our ground, our circumstance. We've talked about our 3 foundational blocks. Next, we're going to talk about the 4 pillars. Now these pillars are 4 ways of life. They are habits. So the first pillar they're going to need for this Spacemane House of Greatness is exercise. You need to get some sort of exercise. You need to have a regular routine where you're getting your heart beating. Now, this could be going to the gym. I personally love to go to the gym. I love pushing around heavy weights. It feels good. I feel good about myself when I start getting the weight level up heavier. I love to do it. So you could go to the gym, but you could also go for a run. You could also do things like yoga, Tai Chi. If you don't want to get too crazy with it, you can just sit and do push-ups every day, but you've got to do something that's going to get your heart beating and get your body moving. Go on walks if you want. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, and start small. It's always good to start small, because when you try to shoot for the moon right at first, you have those days where you think, wow, my life's really unorganized and out of line right now. I need to just take over the world today. Don't do that, because then you're just going to overwhelm yourself. You might stay motivated for a day or two, and motivation is really the biggest. Motivation is just another drug, and we'll talk about that another time, but motivation doesn't do much for you. It comes and it goes, so you need to create a system of discipline that's going to keep you on your actions, whether you feel motivated or inspired or not. So exercise, that's the first pillar, first of the 4 pillars. The second pillar is going to be healing. It's thoroughly important to engage in some form of healing activity daily. Now, this could be, maybe you go to therapy. Maybe you write all your thoughts out in a journal. I personally think that could even be better than therapy. It depends on who you are. But if you have a good therapist, therapy could be good. Maybe you do some sort of energetic healing or sound healing. Maybe you eat clean and healthy and take supplements. Whatever it is you do, it's thoroughly important to engage in some form of healing, making yourself better, helping yourself stay healthy, getting toxicities out of your body, out of your life. So healing is the second pillar of Spacemane House of Greatness. Now the third pillar is going to be creation/creativity. It is also thoroughly important that you have a form and outlet. We are powerful beings and we create. As humans, that's what we do. You're either consuming or creating. You've probably heard this before. So with all that we consume through social media, through television, through people, through every form of everything, is absolutely crucial that we find a way to express our creative outlet, that we find a way to take all these energies and put it towards something. Everybody has a different form of creation. It doesn't have to be your profession or anything, but you could draw, you could paint, you could make music. You don't have to be good at it, and you don't have to put it out there for the world to see. Just practice every single day creating something, doing something creative. Maybe what's that thing they do, the old ladies do? Crocheting. You could crochet. You could write poetry. You could write a book. You could write short stories. You could make social media, like cool edits and graphic design and stuff like that. Whatever it is you do, just spend time every single day creating. And if possible, try to create more than you're consuming, because this creation connects you to a higher source of infinite intelligence that allows you to stay tapped in your intuition. It allows you to express your inner being. It just gets you closer to what it is you're trying to do here. So create every day. Now the 4th pillar is going to be education/learning. The reason this is so important, hold on, let me tell you about something. I'm gonna sip my energy drink real quick. Again, if you're an energy drink company and you want to sponsor me, I think you should do that. We'll make a Spacemane energy drink, and it's gonna be the best flavor yet. It's gonna be the top seller, and we're gonna get the world energized. So education and learning. We're not editing this. We're just raw dogging it. We're going for the gold. Now, education and learning. The reason this is so important, there's some sort of study I've read at some point, right? Maybe one day I'll cite these. Maybe one day I'll find them and cite them. But for now, we're just going to go off my Spacemane memory collection. So there's a study somewhere how people tend to decline mentally at about the age of 50 or 60. Mentally, cognitively, that's the word I was looking for. Now, I believe I used to be a CNA, so I used to work with elderly people all the time. You see all sorts of different people with different conditions. I worked in the rest homes, I worked in the rehabs, I worked in the assisted livings, I worked with people at their homes. So I personally noticed it's not that every single person declines cognitively after about 50 or 60. I think there's a common belief in the world that that's just the age where your brain doesn't do as well or starts declining. But I have experienced a different truth, and that is this. People tend to go into retirement at about age 50 or 60. Now, a lot of us, we go to school and we're children. We are continuing learning. After school, we go to college. After college, we start a job. So we're constantly learning new things. And then a lot of the times, the job career will develop over the years. You'll learn more things over the course of that. And then at about ages 50 or 60, you retire. And many people do nothing after they retire. They don't start learning anything new. Maybe they do their day-to-day routine, but they're not actually intaking new information into their brain. What happens here, I'm sure you've heard the term talking about muscles in the gym. If you don't use it, you lose it. And that's exactly what I believe is happening here. You stop learning. Your brain isn't a muscle, but just like anything else, if you're not constantly developing new neural pathways and learning how to do new things, you're always either growing or you're shrinking, you're dying, right? So your brain cells start to die, your neural pathways start to kind of fade away, and that's where you come up with cognitive issues, mental issues, memory issues in general. Now, I remember I was never a fan of math in school, but what the math teachers would say is you're not learning math to learn math. You're learning math because it teaches you problem solving. It teaches you new ways to think. And honestly, I might go learn more math because I think that's absolutely true. And I think as many possible ways as you can teach yourself to think in different perspectives and new lights, the better off you will be. So if you take it upon yourself to learn as much as possible about as many different things as possible, even if they seem like they don't matter, I believe you will absolutely be better off for it, and it's going to apply to everything else in your life. You might learn about something that seems completely irrelevant, but you're developing those new neural pathways, so you're going to be able to think in concepts that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise. Also, random information is a wonderful thing to learn because in conversations, you never know what people you might be around, what conversations might be presented. And if you know as much about as many things as possible, you might even be able to add to the conversation and make new connections from that. Okay, so we've gone over the 4 pillars. We've gone over the ground, your circumstance, the 3 foundational blocks, the 4 pillars / habits. Now we're moving on to the rooftop. So the rooftop, I called it the rooftop principles. The first one is going to be gratitude. Now, gratitude is extremely important. It's an emotion, it's a frequency that we can embody. And when you're thinking in terms of gratitude, when you're feeling grateful, you open yourself up to infinite possibilities. It's one of the highest states of being you can be in. If you haven't seen it, go look up the frequency emotions chart, and it has a colored funnel, and it'll tell you what each emotion vibrates at, what hertz it vibrates at. Gratitude is one of the highest emotions on the spectrum. So if you can keep yourself at a state of gratitude, you're vibrating at such a high level that you allow new things, new opportunities, new people into your life. Things that match that emotion of gratitude, and that's where we want to be ultimately. So gratitude is the first rooftop principle. Do as many practices as you can to keep yourself grateful throughout your day. Try to bring that emotion. You know what it feels like when you feel grateful and you just feel high on life. You just feel amazing. Try to bring that feeling into your life as much as possible throughout the day. Now, if you're an ungrateful person, which trust me, I have been many times, but if you are, it's going to feel hard at first, but it's a practice. It's like when you go to the gym and you first start, you're weak, you can't lift much, but the more you go and the more consistent you are with it, it gets easier and easier. Gratitude is exactly the same. So, by the way, a thing you can do to bring gratitude into your life: 1, every single day you can set time aside to write down 3 things you're grateful for. that you have currently in your life. You can also pick 3 people every single day and text them that you're grateful for them and just let them know that you're grateful to have them in your life. And then, like I said, just try to, throughout the day, visualize things that make you feel that emotion of gratitude and make you feel grateful. It'll help you, trust me. Okay, the second rooftop principle is servitude. Now, this is action. This is taking action from an emotion of gratitude. So once you've gotten yourself in that state of gratitude, this is where you're going to act. And a thing that embodies servitude is when you look outside of yourself, you look for how you could serve others. You're trying to become the source of what you seek. So when you're in a state of desire, you're focused on yourself. When you're having cravings, maybe you want food, you want cheeseburgers, you want nicotine, you want alcohol, you want whatever it is you want. You're in a state of desire. This is a lower frequency emotion compared to gratitude. Once you get up to a state of gratitude, you're vibrating at a higher state. You're not thinking about yourself so much anymore. You're not thinking about what you want in this moment so much anymore. When you get to a state of servitude, now you're serving the masses. You're looking outside yourself. You're taking all those desires and you're providing them for others. So if you can look outside of yourself and provide that solution to others of what you're seeking, it's going to bring you up even further. Now, the next one is intention. And intention means you are directing consciousness. So you're taking this gratitude, you're taking this servitude, now you have an intention of what you're doing with it. Intention is the mechanism of movement of what you're doing with this gratitude and with this servitude and everything you've built on top of so far. Now, once you have your intention, the next important step of rooftop principles to the Spacemane House of Greatness is going to be consistency. Consistency. Now, consistency is repeated action. Consistency is the base where you're really going to start to see progress and a shift in your day-to-day life. Once you're able to be consistent, what this does is, number one, it builds confidence. When you show up every single day, you are building a good reputation with yourself, which is, again, the most important relationship you will ever have in this life, is the one you have with yourself. And once you build a good reputation with yourself, you start to become confident because you start to see yourself as a person that does what they say they're going to do. And once you see that in yourself, you start building this confidence. You're able to start doing that with other people as well. The next thing consistency does, there's a book I've been reading. It's called Atomic Habits. Probably many of you have read it. I had never gotten around to it until just recently. But this part of it I read was talking about what making a 1% difference, a 1% increase in productivity will do, a 1% improvement. Now, 1% every single day, you might not see massive results. But if you improve 1% every single day for 365 days, you will see a 365% increase in your results. Or maybe it's a 36.5 increase. Like I said, math was never my favorite class. Either way, it's a worthwhile result that you can achieve just by improving 1% every single day. Think of an airplane. I'm taking this directly from Atomic Habits, so shout out to Atomic Habits. If you think of an airplane, if a pilot takes off from LA and is flying to New York, but they shift their direction 3.5% to one way or the other, let's say this way, for example, they're going to end up in Washington, D.C. instead of New York. So a 1% difference over a consistent basis of time makes a massive difference. So consistency, very important, and often the hardest for most of us. And this is where I say motivation is not really so much what you should seek out, because it's easy to get motivated and fired up in the moment and say, oh, I'm going to make all these changes and do all this stuff. But then as soon as you get unmotivated, you lose the spark, you lose the habit. So it's better to build a system, and then when you feel motivated, take massive action, but create a system to where you are staying productive even when you don't feel motivated. Now, the next brick to this roof is confidence. Now, we already talked about confidence. It comes from consistency. Each of these is sprouting one another, right? So we've got the consistency. Now, this is going to create confidence. Now, confidence is a earned state of being. And when you're confident, the world is, what did they say? The world's your oyster. you can really achieve anything from confidence. Confidence is a very attractive state to be in. It attracts other people. It makes other people feel inspired by you. And everyone wants confidence. Everyone wants to be confident at the end of the day. No one doesn't want to be confident in themselves and who they are and what they're doing. Now, confidence can only come from consistency. So, confidence. Now, once you get to confidence, the next and final step of the Spacemane rooftop principles on the Temple of Greatness, success for anything, what you're going to do is you're going to share it. You're going to share it. You're going to create this beautiful Spacemane house of greatness. And then once you do that, you're going to share it with the world. You're going to gift it to the world. You're going to share with other people how you achieved it, how you got there, and how they can do the same thing. Not everyone's going to listen to you. That's okay. It's not for them. It's for the people that genuinely want to make an improvement in their life and are ready to take things to the next level. So, if you don't share things, if you build all this success, and again, success can mean anything. This is the temple of success for anything. That could be relationships. That could be your own personal improvement and productivity. That could be the gym. That could be fitness. That could be money, finances, abundance. It could be whatever you want it to be. This will literally work for anything. This is the blueprint to absolute success. You cannot go wrong if you follow this blueprint right here. And over the course of this next year, I'm going to prove that. I'm going to stick by this blueprint for the entire next year and see where I go from today to 365 days from right now. So, but if you don't share it, it wells up in you. It starts to overboil. You've got to share it. The purpose, I believe, the purpose of this life is to elevate yourself to a high enough state that you are able to share that with other people and bring other people up as well. So, Spacemane Temple of Greatness, thank you for tuning in. Let me know if you've got any questions. Tap in with me on Instagram. Right now it's Riggs the Lord. I'm probably going to change it to Himothy Stephen with a PH. Himothy Stephen. So go tap in with me. Maybe I'll just make a new one. I haven't decided yet. But either way, this has been Spacemane Yaps Sesh, Spacemane Yaps, Spacemane Chat, Spacemane Talks, whatever we're going to call it. Thank you for tapping in. Have a wonderful day. More information will be coming about the Spacemane House of Greatness, Temple of Success for anything. Let's get it.